Welcome back to 5 Elements Tactical. Self-defense, home defense, prepping, and survival. Today we're doing a little bit of firecraft or next fire mentality preparation. I have two separate things here that I use. One is Char Cloth, which comes from 100% cotton material, which you use an Altoids can, or you could use something else, but this is just an easy one. The other one is just charred material, like punky wood that was decaying. And I use my steel container. It's not insulated, and once you have a fire going, you could take this spongy decaying wood, put it in there, and it'll shrink it down into this charred material. Each of them could be used to get your next fire going with just a spark, a lighter that doesn't work anymore, a magnifying glass, a flint and steel. There's really so many ways to get it going. It's super lightweight, it's super compact, and it's just a great thing to have in your kit for getting a fire going. What it will do is it'll get an ember. It's not going to start an actual open flame. It'll get an ember going, which you'll then put into like some sort of bird's nest or tinder bundle. Blow on it, get it to blow to flame. I'll show you how it's done. Stay with me. What's up, warriors? This is Kyoshi Dave Herman with 5 Elements Tactical Training, here to share with you some warrior skills and drills that anyone can learn and everyone should know. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and thanks for stopping by. If you already follow us on social media, and that's how you found your way over to this channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the bell notification button and the little thing where it says all notifications, so YouTube will let you know when the next video drops, and you get all sorts of cool content from here as well. All right, so it's like 1,000,000 degrees, in case you can't tell. It is so hot. It is so humid. We had rain last night, and it's just like humid. It's like I feel like I'm in a sauna today. But I was showing my son how to do this earlier, and I just thought, like, I had the stuff out, I had the materials. It was good content and stuff that I've been meaning to cover on the channel. So let's get after it. So the first thing, I guess I'll show you first how it works, how char works. So for instance, I have a Bic lighter here that it doesn't work anymore. And I'm gonna take a piece of char cloth. It's a little bit breezy out, so it may be a bit of a challenge, but I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's still that spark. I'm sure you've had a lighter that the fuel went out, and again, you toss it. Man, if you had char cloth and you came across one of these and you had no other means of making a fire, this is like a godsend. So what you do is, there it went up already. Put it against like a black background. Can you see that? So all I did was I used the spark to try to ignite one of the finest fibers I could find on there. And basically what this is, it's like, in a fire, you have between like wood and then ash, you have that coal, right? And that like really burnt, catches easy, burns long, and burns hot. That's what this is. So like the fire's out, but you blow on it, you see some of those embers. Char cloth or char material, it's just about getting one of those embers to catch. So another way, real simple, is now it's a little bit overcast. We still got some clouds going by, so I know that the magnifying glass on my compass, we'll see if this also makes it catch. I'm gonna try to use the other side. That's hot, man. So I have a stronger. Basically, you take in you find the beam, you find that circle, like, give you a black background. There's that circle, can you see that? And then as I move it out or in, it gets to like a fine beam, and then if I go past it, it becomes like a bigger circle again. So I want to try to get the circle as round as I can, bring it down to the finest beam I can. Let's see if that works. We were doing this earlier and it wasn't catching. Not from this magnifying glass. Clear, straight sun, it'll work. I've done it a bunch of times on the char cloth and the charred wood. I will show you with a strong magnifying glass, stronger. I don't know if this is a 5 or 10, whatever one this is. Watch, let's get rid of that one. Get a fresh piece. Again, even with the breeze, I'm gonna rip this in half so we could show you more ways to do this. Find the circle, make it as round as you can to find your angle, bring it in as close as you can. Just go. Yeah, it's going. Can you see that? And there's your orange glow. Again, in the bright sun, I don't know if you could see this or not, but it's burning me, man. It's burning. So now again, you take this and you just lay this into a tinder bundle, and you blow on it gently, and it'll start to heat up the finest materials around it and bring it to flame. You put that flame in your fire lay, and that's how we get the next fire going. And then, if you're doing this right, and you're running low on char, or you come across some punky wood and you could make more char, it's part of that next fire mentality. Another way to make this work is if you have a flint and steel. So here's some steel, a nice sharp rock, flint, steel, and this one takes a while. I know guys are way better at this than I am. This one takes me a while. And what you do with this is you're trying to get it to land in, like, I leave the whole tray open with this one as well, with the char. You're trying to get a glancing blow, sparks, glancing blows. It'll rain some spark material down on there. Ooh, not yet, almost. You could use a ferrocerium rod. I think that's overkill, but it works. That would be the easiest one. It just rains sparks in, and you don't want to destroy all your char, unless unless you want to. But I'm getting some sparks, but again, just takes a while. When I see the guys do it fast, I'm like, was that skill or was that luck? You know, I've done this for 20 minutes before I got an actual spark to catch, but it does. This is like high carbon steel, and what you're doing is you're using some sort of sharp rock. And how do you find these? You're like, oh, that looks like it's got a sharp edge on it. You pick it up, you take either your steel or the back of your knife, if you have a high carbon steel blade. So for instance, Mora Garberg, carbon. See, with this, I guess I've had more practice with it, so I get better sparks, like right off the bat. Try to find the sharpest edge on your stone, and they're just like glancing blows that I'm actually trying to like use the edge to shave off a littlest piece off the edge of the knife, the back of the spine on the corner. Sparks. I watch guys that do this all the time, and they are definitely masterful at it. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Oh, it wasn't 20 minutes. Char cloth, I've messed with both ways. I've let it where I make it flat, and I made it in rolls. The flat, I think, catches easier. The roll, I guess you get a bigger piece of cloth to roll up and fit into the container. Basically what it comes down to is redundancy. Like, you have to have more than one way to get a fire going. Like, fire is like, you need that to see, to get warm, to disinfect your water, you know, to cook over, to maintain your core body temperature. Like, fire and shelter you're going to need water at some point, but the fire will help you get the water. The fire will help you, like, once you have some water, you get the shelter going. Or the fire will give you some light, or at the very least, like, something that you could, like, get close to and wrap yourself into your blanket or your shamag or your extra clothes or whatever, and keep you warm to regulate your core body temperature. All right, so what I have here is, I'm going to use a bandana. I'm using black so that hopefully you'll be able to see on the back of this. You could use your shamag, you could use a bandana, you could use, you know, anything to help catch, like, the really fine fibers. I just have some inner tree bark that I have from a tree in my yard, and you just kind of like start processing it down. Like, I kind of roll it in my hands and pull it apart and fold it from the center and just kind of like break it up. These are shorter pieces, so I don't know how much of a bird's nest it's going to be. It'll definitely be a tinder bundle. I just hope it's dry enough and I'm processing it far enough to blow it to flame. Again, I'm trying to do it quick for the sake of the video. You know, you have more time, you collect more material. The more material you have, the drier it is over the course of a day. You know, you hang this over the top of your pack while you're out walking around, or you find some really good sunlight and, you know, hot ground where it's going to dry out faster. Just leave it, let the sun do its thing, and dry the stuff out as best you can. It feels dry. I can see the dust that's blowing around in the breeze. I wish there was more of a breeze today. It's so hot. It's so hot. And again, the more you break this down, the more you shred it apart, the better we're going to be able to get this to blow to flame. But this fine stuff right here, this is what I want in the middle. I'm going to try and get this really hot, which will help ignite this. Once this catches, then this catches. Put that in our fire lay, and up it'll go. Okay. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to try and make it as much of a bird's nest as I can. I kind of broke it down into such small pieces that, see how easily that comes apart? I'm going to kind of need a ball of it. That's what I'm going with. A ball. And I'm going to make a hole in the middle as best I can, hoping that the rest of it all stays together and holds itself together, that when I put the ember in there and I start blowing on it, I want it to have some sort of structural integrity, which, whatever, I might burn my hand a little bit, but I'll be all right. And again, it's wood, it's inner bark, this'll catch, but you want enough of it that it's gonna, you want the ember to grow, that it's big enough and hot enough that it heats up and ignites the material around it. And the rest of the nest. The rest of the nest. All right, so now before I go and try to ignite my tinder bundle, I'm going to try and make my fire lay, starting with the smallest stuff first. And really what you're supposed to do is you find a breeze, which of course is not much of a breeze today. So now what I did to make sure that I was able to save my tinder bundle was I just rolled the whole thing up in my bandana. Okay, so when I open it up, I see, there we are. I'm going to try and hold the whole thing together with, again, as much of these fine fibers in the center. I'll take a piece of the char cloth in my hand. Don't do it, Davey. Don't do it. Let's see. Oh, maybe right there. I don't know if you can see this or not. We got it. We got it. All right. I put this in there. And start blowing on this. Let the breeze help us too. We got fire, baby. Get our smallest on top. All right, now, while the fire is going, I'll just show you how I kind of prepare the char cloth. You could use old cotton t-shirt. You could use old blue jeans. I've been doing martial arts for 40 years, and I've had a school for almost 25 years. So I have tons of old uniforms that, you know, they're all ripped to shreds from full contact fighting and stuff like that. And they're 100% cotton, and they're of that same like blue jeans material. So what I do is I know I'm going to put it in here, so I make it about that size, and I just, you know, cut it. This one. And then I'll make as many as will fit inside of that. You're not making furniture here, so they don't have to be perfect. Now, the next part that I'm going to show you, I've seen people do this without the hole in the top of the can. See in the top, there's a hole there. I'll explain to you why. I do it with that, which is why many people do it that way. So once we get some coals and the fire's like going, we're going to put this in and it'll heat up. And basically what you're doing is you're using this like as a fuel source to start fire, but you're giving it heat and fuel, but no oxygen. So the hole in the top, now on the back of on one side of my knife I have a sail needle tape there, and the other side I have a big heavy gauge nail, which you use as an awl. And all I do is I put it in the middle, and I find something to make a hole in there, and there's your hole. And you can put it in the corner. You could do it without the hole at all, and it'll still serve the same purpose. But when we put that on the fire, you'll see what happens. Fire will start coming out the side, the top of this, it'll start coming out of the hole. When the fire stops coming out of the hole, your char material is done. Remove it from the fire or you'll wind up with ashes. When it comes to making punky wood into char material, what I'm going to do is, this is a stainless steel container that is not insulated. Like it's just, let me make sure it's dry, bone dry. So what I'm going to do is, this is really going to shrink down and serving the same purpose as the Altoids tin. You want to give it heat and fuel, but no oxygen, or at least not enough oxygen to ignite. So you just stuff this in there, and it's going to shrink down a lot. So I mean, if you have more of it, you could fill up the whole container. And then instead of putting the lid back on, which it would melt, I use the nesting cup over the top, like so. All right, now I got a good fire going. I got a couple layers of wood there. I'm just going to rest this like as center as I can. I'll leave the hooks up so the handles up so I could put it in and fish it out. Again, with this, most important is that it stays sealed. And then this, I want to put it on in a spot where I can fish it off real quick when I need to. All right, so now I don't know if you could tell, but it's starting to smoke already, and we got flame coming out right here, the hole in the top. This prepares way faster than the punky wood. So again, I'm just watching for when the flame and the smoke and everything stops coming out the top. When it does, we pull it off quick, slide it to the side, let it cool down. When it's cool to the touch, then we could open it and examine it, and you could test out test out a piece, make sure it works, but it'll work. We're getting there, it's dying down. All right, I think the cloth is done. Move that to the side, let it cool off. All right, so it's the fire pretty much died down. I'm gonna use the handle here. Oh my God, stay on. Remember that we got to try and keep this. I don't want to open it till it's cool enough to the touch. Once it cools down, then we can open it up. The char cloth is already cool. A little hot, but cool enough to the touch. Now that it's cool to the touch, this is still a little warm, but it's definitely not like, I'm not worried about it catching fire when I open it up. Hey, and look at that. That was another great example of a use for a bandana and a shemagh, like a pot grabber, handle holder, whatever thing, a shavings catcher, whatever thing. And there we go. There it is. You can check it out real quick. There we go. It's good. It's good. So we got that. Let's check this out. Now, it's pretty amazing how small that breaks into. All right. Let's check out a small piece of this. Ah, we got some sun, baby. We got some sun. Quick, Davey, quick. Ooh, we got spark. It is lit. Check that out. Amazing. All right, there you go, warriors. Char material. We just call it char. Char cloth, charred wood, charred punky wood. Let's try and just put that out, so I don't want to waste it. Save the remainder. Save it. Again, inside of a tin, you just close the tin, and again, if you want to just start whacking sparks into there, you take out whatever lights, put it into your tinder bundle. When you're done, seal it up, close the top, and set it, forget it. That's why with this stuff, I usually use a piece of tape, which I'll put on top afterwards. Well, if you made it this far and you like what I'm teaching and preaching, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and like this video. If you're loving it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you gotta have it, make sure you hit the bell notification button and the little thing where it says all notifications, so YouTube will let you know when the next video drops. If you're really digging it and you want more, you can find me on all social media platforms at 5 Elements Tactical. That's all I got for now, warriors. So until our paths cross again, pray for the best, prepare for the rest. I'm Kyoshi Dave Herman with 5 Elements Tactical Training. Thanks for watching.